Thankful that took the time to join the show. Today's update, I ended yesterday with 243 subscribers. Today I stand at 253 subscribers, so I gained 10 subscribers overnight. I also went live for the first time late last night just to see the contrast between going live in the daytime and at nighttime. What I learned from going live last night was I got the most hits on my live that I've ever received. A lot of great interactions going live lit after midnight. I believe it was about 12:20 or 12:30 this morning. I went live and I had the most I've ever had on a live, which was 8 to 10 different viewers. Got a lot of good feedback from some of the people who hopped on the live. I just went over some personal things about my journey in life and just a lot of lessons learned that I achieved and a lot of the successes that I have. So if you're joining the live and you're new to my channel is Traveling with Promise. I pretty much have a lot of hiking adventures, which I cover a lot of waterfalls, mountain views, rivers, lakes, streams, traveling when I go out of town just to sightsee or just vacationing. You'll see at least about five to six different things on my channel. I currently have a little over 600 plus videos, combinations of shorts and long form videos. So a lot of good content there. So if you're someone who needs a reason to smile, if you're someone who may have stuff going on your day and you just need to step back and just take your mind off of what's going on in your life, my channel is something that can definitely be the cure for your sadness. It can be a reason to give you a smile, and etc. So, as you may know, I accepted my dream job with the federal government last week. I've been talking about today, what was on the agenda for today, and today wasn't bad at all. I actually went in and did my fingerprinting with that government agency and great environment as a whole. They're very welcoming at this local facility, and they wish me luck. So I will be transferring to or relocating to California within the next few weeks um, for this role. So I'm very excited about it. So if you're new to the channel, today's update, I did gain 10 subscribers from overnight. So I went from 243 to 253. And I also went live for the first time around midnight. I had a lot of good, interesting convos in the chat regarding just experiences in life. I'm thinking now moving forward that I may switch up when I go live. I may go live a couple times a week during the day, and then I may go live a couple times during the night because I had up to 10 people yesterday in my live, and I just talked about my military career, and a lot of the successes that I had, adversity that I experienced, and just the will just to keep moving forward. Great dialogue in the chat. I got a lot of great encouraging words in the chat, so very thankful for it. And again, with this channel, is I've been around. In 2 days, it'll be 2 months. So I'm very thankful for everyone who's taking the time to join my channel, and just the returning viewers. Thank you as well. I have waterfalls on my channel. I have hiking adventures on my channel. I have vacationing. I have 49er games. It's a mixed bag of different proportions. Um, all gives you a reason to smile. If you're someone who's just into waterfalls, I do have a second channel, which is Waterfall Chaser. and it's just a catalog of me chasing waterfalls over the last few years. I'm very excited about that channel as well. I've had that channel going on 2 weeks. I currently have 86 subscribers, and then on this channel I'm at 253. So it's definitely a work in progress. I feel like I'm halfway to my 500 subscriber short term goal. So thank you to everyone who's subscribed to the channel so far. If you haven't subscribed, stop by the channel, see if there's anything that you like. I have hiking adventures there. I have me chasing waterfalls. I have vacations that I've gone on, and then just sightseeing adventures that I've had. It's a mixed bag of different content, but a lot of great fun content with great views there. So if that's something that you're interested in, definitely stop by the channel, see if it's something there that you like. If you do happen to like content on my channel, uh, comment as much as you can on the channel. Like anything that you see, and if it's something that you really enjoy, subscribe. I'm thankful to everyone who takes the time to hop on my live or actually go to my YouTube channel. It means the world to me there. So, just to give you some background about myself, born and raised in South Carolina. Right after high school, I went in the military for 8 years. I served as a computer system specialist for 4 years and 8 months on active. I was actually stop lost for 8 months on active duty due to my role not having enough strength. What that means is if the military don't have X amount of soldiers in your role, they can actually hold you over until the military gets the required headcount for that position. So, being that my role required a secret clearance, it kind of caused me to have to stay on active duty longer. I was actually on the tail end of my third deployment within the 4 years of my initial contract there. So, during my active duty career, I went to basic training at Fort Sill, which is in Oklahoma. My job was a field artillery computer specialist. I pretty much, once the infantry sent us the grid coordinates, we sent the fire mission over to the howitzer tanks, and then the 13 Bravos, they would actually go and load the missiles into their howitzer, and then they would shoot those rounds to the destination. It's a fun it's fun seeing it in action, but you can also be in a situation in which you may not be able to hear do it. So, being in artillery for the first 4 years of my military career definitely led to a lot of hearing deficiencies because once you send a fire mission to the 13 Bravos, they're pretty much loading the round into the tank and then just shooting it based on the grid coordinates that you send. It's actually fun seeing it in action there. Also, part of my job, I pretty much had to put up communications as well. So we had to put up a 254 antenna. We had to put up a hooch. That way, if any of the cadre or any of the officers or anyone else need to have a meeting, they can come underneath our hooch and actually have the meetings if we need to do any map overlays or anything like that. That was also part of the mission there. So within the role that I had on active duty, I had two computer systems in my tank. One was actually to send out coordinates to the tanks for the fire missions. The second device was called a Blue Force tracker. That was pretty much a device that was used to track any command posts that we had in the United States. And it was very sensitive information. No one was allowed to come into our tank without a security clearance, so it was very important to have safeguards in that. I was stationed at Fort Benning, so What's significant about my military career is very unique. So I started my military career on August 30th, 2001. Um, I got to my unit at Fort Sill, and my fourth day of basic was September 11th. So that was definitely a hard day in society, but also was a hard day for us soldiers who was new to the Army. With your fourth day of basic training being September 11th, and you seeing planes going to the towers, you're immediately thinking, okay, as soon as basic training is over, we're going straight to war. A lot of the people that I came in with immediately quit the army. They were when it when the news went out of it, they actually took a few of my drill sergeants off the trail. They got sent back to their rapid deployment units, and they actually went and got deployed to Iraq. So with me, I we didn't get called out of basic training to go straight into the war. So right after I graduated basic training in November 2001, I went to my AIT, which was literally across the street from my basic training unit. I went to I believe I was at Second Battalion, 80th Field Artillery at Fort Sill. That's where I learned my computer systems specialist role there. Right after AIT, I got orders to go to Fort Benning. So my first duty station was Fort Benning. I got there in February 2002. Literally by May 2002, I was in Kuwait. Literally not even 3 months at my unit was my first deployment. We actually patrolled the Iraqi border in Kuwait just to ensure that no one crossed the berm type deal. We were deployed from May all the way to around Thanksgiving. And literally once we got back from Thanksgiving, within a week of us getting back home, we received our deployment orders for the war in Baghdad. So literally got to my unit in February 2002, was in Kuwait by May 2002, and then got back home from my first military deployment around Thanksgiving time, and then to receive our deployment orders literally 2 weeks afterwards. It got real. I literally you're it's some people who are fortunate to come back from a deployment, but to be on a deployment and then come back and then get deployment orders to go back to the same country, but now being more on the front line, that's an eye opener for anyone who's joined in the military. So we literally we redeployed to Kuwait in 2003. We prepped for Operation Iraqi Freedom One. We started driving from Kuwait to the Iraqi border in late February, and then we got to the Iraqi border around the middle of March. Um, Once we occupied the Iraqi border and right outside Baghdad, we pretty much were just waiting on a call to see when the first fire mission was going to go on. So, reason why what's important, reason why this story is significant to me is the first fire mission that was sent out was on my mom's birthday. So March 21st, it was actually midnight. We were right outside the city limits of Baghdad, and the lights went off in the city. So the enemy knew that we were actually right outside, and when when the fire mission came down, it was pretty much a 6 round fire mission to 6 different tanks. And usually, what happens is once we send a fire mission to the tanks, they usually whatever tank hits closest to the target, we'll do something called fire for effect. So what that means is whatever tank got the closest to the target, we'll send the grid coordinates to all six tanks again based on where that first round hit by that closest tank. So now you got six tanks shooting one target that got the closest, and then we'll just do fire for effect. So what happened? We actually one of the tanks got the closest. We sent the fire mission where they hit, and it was chaotic. Once dayfall hit, probably around 6 7 o'clock in the morning, we proceeded through the city limits of Baghdad. There was a lot of carnage there, a lot of blown up buildings and everything else there. But probably around 7 o'clock in the morning, we literally came into our first firefight over there. We saw the enemy and their tanks probably about 400 meters from our path of resistance. So we pretty much it got real. I mean, you got people who actually play these Black Op games and Battlefield games, and they actually Call of Duty games, and they actually play them very well. But it's different when it's real life. When you're actually in the fight, stacking on a door or shooting round through a tank, shooting an M16, shooting an M4, shooting a M249, a M60. All of those things in real life is definitely different than a game. Some of my friends who served with me, um, they refuse to play Call of Duty or Battlefield because it's a situation in which it could somewhat trigger PTSD. Because I will say this, during my three deployments, we saw a lot. We saw a lot of battle. We was part of a lot of firefights over there, whether it was in our tank or in a 1114 Humvee, which is a armored Humvee. There, we got a chance to we helped out the region. We was able to give a lot of support to the inhabitants of Baghdad. We was able to set up a lot of polling sites for them so they can elect their own officials instead of the regime that was there. So I will say we did a lot for Iraq as a whole. There, it definitely was some hard times that we all had in Iraq during our two deployments. Fortunate for us, during our second deployment in Baghdad, we did see a lot of firefights going through Baghdad, um, capturing the airport. We actually witnessed a lot of the inhabitants pulling down those statues. So everything you saw on TV, I actually saw in real time in Iraq during 2003. So I'm happy that they was able to elect their own government officials and everything there. There was a lot of influences outside of Iraq that was trying to prevent the people that live in Iraq to elect their officials. So oftentimes we met a lot of resistance while we were there. So we made it back from our deployment in July 2003, and we literally went back to just day to day operations at Fort Benning. We went to work every day, got off every day, but we did get word that we needed the mission had changed over there. So a lot of us had to now go back to basic training tools that we had. So what that means is in basic training, everyone is basically infantry pretty much. So you're pretty much going to be doing a lot of the hikes. You're going to be stacking on buildings, clearing buildings, and etc. So what we had to do in 2004, well, we got sent to we first got sent to NTC, which is the National Training Center in California, in January 2004. We actually did some training there, just a lot of combat training, just to get used to just being on the ground, living in tents and etc. And then we did a lot of war games in the desert there at the Mojave Desert. We got gassed a lot over there, so it was a lot of lessons learned there. Kiki's channel, thanks for joining my live. And thank you for appreciating everyone who served. It really means a lot to us there. So we was at NTC for about a month. Right after that, we went back to Fort Benning, did some more training throughout. And then in August, we got sent to JRTC, which is the training center in Fort Polk, Louisiana. We did some mount training there, so that was a lot of the stuff you see on Black Ops. I mean, on Call of Duty, which is driving around in 1114s, stacking on buildings, clearing buildings, um, and then after we clearing buildings, throwing in chem lights on the floor to just show that buildings were cleared, and etc. So a lot of war game stuff there as well. So with the training that we learned at JRTC in Fort Polk, Louisiana, and in NTC in California, we actually was prepared to get deployed for our third time. So we got our deployment orders, and right after Thanksgiving in 2004, and then about 2005 January, we got sent back to Baghdad initially, and then we got sent to Bakuba, which was like a maybe an hour or two from Baghdad. The mission did change, so we were pretty much in infantry ops the whole time. So every day we'll send people out on patrol just to clear the roads to make sure everything's good to go. Normally it was probably 4 or 5 teams of 1114 Humvees. And then once we went and did our to make sure the roadways were cleared, we pretty much came back to the FOB, which is the forward operating base. What we found out was there is oftentimes when we went out on patrol, the enemy started noticing they started noticing our schedules when we started going out the gate throughout. So what they ended up doing was every time we went out the gate, if they knew exactly what time we were going, then they would target certain vehicles. So nearly for that whole year deployment, every time we went out on patrol, a vehicle got hit by a roadside bomb. Every day, verbatim. One of my friends that went on patrol, he earned 3 Purple Hearts during that year. Literally every time he was on a patrol, his vehicle got hit 3 times. The likelihood of your vehicle being hit in a year span, like I ain't gonna say every time we went on patrol, but every time this soldier went on patrol, we got nervous, and it wasn't a laughing matter. But you got to have the worst luck in the world to actually for you to end up getting hit, your vehicle getting hit randomly 3 times in a year. One of the times that we got hit was around Halloween 2005. We was literally setting up more polling sites for the city of Bakuba could go and vote. So we was at a polling site and we were closing up for the day. So we picked up our concertina wires from the perimeter, threw them on the back of the 1114 Humvee, and we proceeded to head back to the fob. But literally 10 minutes after we departed from the polling site, a vehicle got hit, and it was kind of a sad situation because when that vehicle got hit, we were crossing a bridge, and what happened was they had something called pressure sensored IEDs. So when you're driving along a certain structure, if a vehicle weighs a certain amount of weight, it will automatically trigger that roadside bomb. So as 3 of our vehicles crossed the bridge to hit the roadway, it actually hit the fourth building. The fourth vehicle, and when it hit the fourth building, it forced that fourth vehicle to actually tip over into the to the little lake or river there. So it's in the middle of the night. So we got our night vision goggles on while we're driving, and to see one of our Humvees get hit sucked. It really did suck there. So we scrambled to jump into that little river or lake there to get our friends out of the water there. We never found out who triggered that IED, but we're happy that no one got killed on that patrol. But the sad part about the whole deployment there was literally our first week. I want to say our second week that we arrived in Bakuba, Iraq. We had something called right seat ride. So what you do is once you get to a forward operation base there, whatever unit has been there prior to, they'll basically show you what they did that was successful during that year. They'll show us the routes that they used to go on patrol and etc. So when it's our first time to do the right seat ride, we actually lost four people that day. That was our first time going out on our own, and anyone that may know about weapons, RPGs are weapons that are not accurate. So most of the inhabitants of a country, if they have a RPG, they can aim it at a certain place, and sometimes that RPG will be dead on, but sometimes it won't. But the person who shot the RPG while we was going on patrol in the middle of the night had the luckiest shot ever. Anyone that knows about Humvees and 1114s, they're armored Humvees. So you'll have your driver, you have your platoon sergeant or squad leader in the passenger seat, and then you have two people in the back seat. But you also have a gunner up top that's in the hatch that's mounting either a 50 cal or a Mark 19. So what happened was we was on our way back from patrol, and someone, an enemy on force, shot an RPG, and it hit through the gunner's hatch of the 1114 Humvee. It immediately took out the gunner up top, and then it also took out the platoon sergeant that was in the passenger seat, and the rear passenger soldier. The driver and the rear passenger soldier that was to the right survived, but we actually lost three people that day. The platoon sergeant died, the gunner died, and the passenger behind the driver's seat died due to RPG. It was a situation in which it hit. It really got real on that particular moment. We got deployed in 2002. Was on the front line. No one died. 2003, Baghdad, one of the craziest wars that we've seen on the front line. No one died. Within a week of deployment in 2005, losing three people was very, very sad. It was something that I'll never forget to this day. And throughout that whole deployment, we were losing soldiers left and right. Literally every day we went outside to clear the roadways. We got hit by roadside bombs. During that whole year, I believe we lost over 200 soldiers in the region due to roadside bombs or different trigger points there. So it could be a situation in which we got hit by roadside bombs by going on patrol, or if we cleared up a building and a bomb was inside. One of the most craziest days of my life happened in the summer of 2005. We were in the center, in the center of the city. We had a fob set up inside there. So usually what happens, we have a few soldiers at the top of the building that will pull 10 to 12 hour shifts of just doing this guard duty on top of the building. And then in the entryway, if anyone's coming in and out of the fob, we have someone just checking their IDs or checking their vehicles to ensure that they don't have anything inside of it. One particular day, I remember this blatantly, like vividly. There was it's a market. It was a market area in that city of Bakuba in which people would just go and open up the railing and they're just sell different devices, food, you name it, in that marketplace there. Plus, there were other schools that were in the area, so you see a lot of people, a lot of young kids going to school, or you just see people walking in front of our fob to go to the city markets and stuff. So, one particular day, I saw a woman in a car in the driver's seat. So I knew immediately that was a red flag. Usually, women have restrictive rights in those foreign countries. They're not allowed to drive. They're not allowed to show exposed skin or anything. So when I saw this woman sitting inside a car in the driver's seat, and then she was praying, I knew. I was telling my counterpart on top of the building. I was like, "Well, it's about to hit the fan in a few minutes." And he said, "What you mean?" I said, "There's a woman in the driver's seat right now, and she's bending down, just going like this, bowing and praying. And not even 10 minutes later, she triggered the roadside bomb. She literally blew herself up in front of our forward operation base. It pretty much destroyed a lot of the front end of our perimeter. A lot of the barriers we had that was up got damaged real bad. So we had some exposures there. So we had to reach out to the Army Corps engineers to come and have them come in with a crane to replace the boulders that was up, just to clear out just to have our perimeter back up. But that was a wild particular day. A couple weeks later, same location but in a marketplace, it was an individual that actually was walking through the marketplace there up the street, and it was a typical day. Anyone who's walking up and down the street, you don't think anything of it. But one particular day, a gentleman dropped a suitcase in front of one of the marketplace setups there along the street and kept walking. Um, Literally within 10 minutes as well of him leaving that briefcase, someone triggered that briefcase and it blew up a lot of that market area there. At least three or four shops got destroyed and several people lost their lives as well. So, what we end up seeing during our deployments in in 2003 and our deployment in 2005 was a lot of the Iranian and other neighboring countries were coming into Iraq and setting off the roadside bombs or causing a lot of trouble. You did also have a lot of rift between the Muslim populations, like Shiites and I forgot the other group there. They didn't get along either. So oftentimes they would do things to each other um, because they didn't get along. Also, a lot of things happen during Ramadan every year, so that's that special time of the year in which the Muslims can't eat until sundown. So a lot of people, a lot of things happen at nighttime during Ramadan that cause us to be on high alert as well. So it was just a situation in which you appreciate life as a whole. A lot of people, I would tell everyone to cherish life. You never know when it'll be your last. Um, I don't know too many people like myself that's been on three military deployments on the front line and still here. I've lost a lot of friends doing deployments, and I also lost a lot of friends after the deployment. So I know to tell everyone that PTSD is something real. If you're someone who's served in the military and you have things going on, whether it's your sleeping pattern is messed up or you don't know how to cope, it's very important to seek help. Whether it's going to a VA and filing for disability, or just having a good support system outside of your day to day. And when I say good support system, I'm not going to necessarily say family. Family is going to agree with you at all times, but having a support system like a friend you can go and talk to, anything you got going on in life, you got a friend you can just pick up the phone and go. one of the most experiences that made me sad happened a few years ago. One of the friends that I served with, he I forgot where he lived at, but he was a loner while he was in the military. It was kind of hard to get him to do anything. I myself is an introvert, so I don't like going out either. I'm a person to myself as well, but this person usually isolated himself all the time. He had maybe one or two best friends that he was cool with within our unit, and that was pretty much it. So I was on Facebook. I pretty much was on Facebook for years. That was my way to connect with um, some of my family that lived in other states, but also some of the soldiers that I served with. That way, we can keep tabs on each other and just check on each other from time to time, just to make sure that everything is all right. So I was in Utah staffing a recycling facility, and I used to talk back and forth with this guy, and we used to talk at least once or twice a week via Facebook, and all was well. I thought that he was doing great. It seems like everything was going right in his life, so I didn't think anything of it. Um, I found out a couple weeks later in July that he committed suicide. That hurt me to the core because literally we were talking at least a couple times out of each week, a few times out of each month, and you never know how bad someone has it as it relates to PTSD. I lost at least about 5 to 6 friends after our military deployments due to suicide because they just could not cope at all. I really that hurt me to the core because having a friend that you serve with that actually take their lives, let them know that they didn't have anyone that they can go to for anything. And what hurt me the most was his family said that they saw the signs and they didn't do anything about it. They saw his patterns changing. They saw that he was not in the right state of mind from time to time, and they stated that it never dawned on them to have him seek help. And that really to this day haunts me because it's a situation in which I thought that I probably could have helped him out as well. You can have conversations with people and not even know what they have going on in life. So it's very important that anyone that you consider a friend or a family, check in on them every now and then. Just send a text message or pick up the phone and call someone just to see how they're doing because you never know what someone may be going through, any demons that they may be fighting or anything. So if you're someone who actually you consider yourself a friend or a good family member, check in with people as much as you can because it's very important that you take the time to do that to ensure that you're keeping someone's best interest in mind at all times. So that's why after that situation there, I pretty much deactivated my Facebook, and I haven't been on Facebook until most recently. I think I finally reopened my account, but I deactivated it back. I just opened up some old wounds from the situation there, so that's why I'm not on Facebook at all. So I pretty much still kept in touch with some of my other friends I served with from time to time, and we check on each other still to this day, no matter what. So just know that mental health is something very important. It's very key. It's something that you always should be monitoring throughout your life. If you ever got something going on, seek treatment. Reach out to a friend, reach out to a family member. Just anything you may have been traumatized with, even if you haven't served in the military, it's very important that you talk to someone that you trust and don't don't take your life because you had no one to talk to. I know you may pick up the phone, you may try to text someone, but do your best to try your best to keep in touch with someone and try to keep all portals open so you have a line of communication to someone who cares about you just as much as you care about them. So I know it went off on a tangent on this live, but I think what I just said is something that's probably could be key to anyone who served before or anyone who may be dealing with mental health issues. This is very key and very important to anyone there. Mental health is something that should be looked at daily. Anytime you got stuff going on, that's a trigger that you need to get treatment, that you need someone to talk to, or that you need support. So definitely make sure that if you're experiencing any PTSD or anything, especially if you're someone who served, go to the VA um, and join a support group or some kind of program that other vets are in. Because I know with me, when I was in staffing for about 8 years, and I was 95% travel. When I went state to state and was staffing for different clients, one of the first places I went to go visit were veteran programs, the VA, and other areas there. Because for a lot of veterans who served this country, there's a lot of veterans who are homeless to this day or don't have jobs. And when I was going from state to state staffing, I made it a point to reach out to veteran programs to ensure that, hey, we're a staffing agency who's new to the city. We have jobs available. If you're someone who's seeking employment, we can definitely provide you a job. Something just to aid in your success and something that can help someone, a veteran, along the way. Um, it is very important that we keep all of our veterans safe and try to support them in any way possible. So moving forward with today's journey, like I said, everything's going pretty good. Um, I went in and did my fingerprints today for my government role. So that once that process clears up, the next step in the process will be me going to do a security interview with that agency, and then I'll be all set. So I'm in Colorado. A little bit more about myself. So I talked about my military career and some stories there. Um, Now I want to talk about just places I visited for as vacations or things just to get my mind off of work. I do believe in work-life balances. So when you have a work-life balance, it pretty much gives you the ability to reset, just to take your mind off of work. So places that I've gone doing vacation outside of work. Most recently, I did go to Rio, Brazil for my birthday. My birthday is in December. I normally do a birthday trip every year to an island or someplace nice for a few days. So I went to Rio, Brazil, had a good time. I went to the Christ the Redeemer monument there. I stayed on the Copacabana beach at a Hilton hotel. I actually went to a Tajana National Park. I had a chance to see a few waterfalls at that national park. Got a chance to see a lot of monkeys there throughout that national park. Got a chance to see some parrots there and some other wildlife. A lot of great mountain views while I was there. Rather, Sugarloaf Mountain was my favorite in Rio. Pretty much a mountain in which you can pretty much take a wired cart. It'll take you to at least a couple of destinations in the clouds. When I got to the third destination there, it was straight clouds. You couldn't see anything in front of you, including your hands, your face, nothing. Being in an environment which is just clouds was amazing. So got a chance to stay. We was up there for a few hours, and then I heard that the Brazilian peanuts are great, and I can truly say they are. I was able to get to go to one of the vendors up there while I was on Sugarloaf Mountain and tried some caramelized peanuts, pecans, cashews, almonds. It was tasting so good when I tried the samples that I bought 2 big bags of Brazilian nuts. Um, very very tasty. Had a lot of good experiences on Sugarloaf Mountain. There, my mom had a coworker that heard about Brazilian nuts, so I bought her a bag too, and brought that back to the states, and made sure that my mother's coworker got the Brazilian nuts. But they're actually they taste great. Um, so I stood at Brazil for about 3 days, and I flew back because the Niners had a game on Christmas against the Ravens. I literally, but let me give you the itinerary, which is very crazy. So I got off work on, let's see here, I got off work Sunday morning, and then we had a game against the Cardinals in Phoenix. So I got off work around 4 o'clock in the morning, and I drove to the Denver airport. I flew from Denver to Phoenix. The itinerary I had was crazy because I literally, usually when I go to a game, I would usually stay the night, and sometimes I'll fly out the next day, or I stay an additional day. But being that I had a tight itinerary, I got off work at 4 a.m., drove to Denver airport, flew to Phoenix, got my rental car, and then I drove to the stadium. We was playing the Cardinals that day, so I went to the game. We blew out the Cardinals. Usually, I would stay the night in that city when the Niners are playing someone, but unfortunately, my flight to Brazil was at midnight. So I literally stood at the stadium for a couple hours after the game was over. Then I drove back to the airport, chilled in the Delta Sky Club for a few hours, got me some food, some drinks, um, checked into the counter with my passport to get it verified, and then I flew to Brazil. I was in Brazil for 3 days. Then I flew back to San Jose because we had a game against the Ravens on Christmas. So spent chilled out in San Jose for Christmas Eve, and then we had to play the Ravens on Christmas. So I went to the game on Christmas. Then we had um, we had the Commanders on, I believe, on the 30th. So I went home for a couple of days to visit my mom and my sister. Um, and then from South Carolina, I flew to DC to go to the game against the Commanders. Yeah, so I stayed 2 days in DC. Matter of fact, one day in DC and one day in Baltimore. Then I flew back to Colorado and went back to work um, the day after New Year's. So that was my Brazilian trip. So just to give you a lowdown of all the places I visited, countries wise, I'm gonna count on my fingers. Been to Brazil. I've been to Bora Bora, Maldives, Paris, Kuwait, Germany, Portugal, Italy, China, South Korea, Bahamas, South Africa, Sri Lanka, and I believe a couple more. I believe I've gone to at least 20 plus countries so far. Um, I've also been to 40 states. My goal is to hit all 50 at some points. I would probably be able to hit them because some of the remaining states that's missing have national parks. It's 63 national parks right now. I've gone to 15 so far, so I have about 48 more to go. So I do plan to hit those 48 other national parks at some point. Um, I know the next few national parks I want to go to is going to be here in the States. With me possibly relocating to California, it's going to give me the ability to visit a few more national parks that I've been longing to go to. So, national parks that I've visited so far, I'll give you a list of those, and then I'll end with California. So, I've been to Glacier National Park. I've been to Grand Canyon. I've been to the Grand Tetons. I've been to Yellowstone, Zion, Bryce Canyon, Rocky Mountain National Park, Olympic National Park, and I believe it's a few more that I hit, and Yosemite. Me moving to California is going to give me the ability to visit the other national parks that I've been longing to go to. So Joshua Tree, the Channel, the Lassen Volcanic Park, Kings National Park, Sequoia National Park, um, Pinnacles, Death Valley. So by the time I'm done with all the national parks in California, I'll more than likely be at 22 out of the 63 national parks. There are other national parks in other states that I haven't visited yet, like Maine. I think Arcadia is in Maine. I haven't been to Oregon yet, so I will go to Oregon and hit more national parks there. I've been to Olympic National Park in Washington State um, during last year Thanksgiving time of the year, but I wanted to go to Mount Rainier, but I was told that it was muddy during that part of the year. So Mount Rainier is not a great place to go around Thanksgiving time. So I was told that Olympic was better. So I went to Olympic during that time of the year. But I think North Cascades is not too far from there, and a few other national parks are located there. So, but I do want to go as well to Canada. Canada's been on my list for a few years as well. I do want to go to Banff National Park. I want to go to Jasper National Park and Yoho National Park. Those are probably the main three parks in Canada that I wish to go to. Um, I, if I don't make it there this summer, I'll probably try sometime next year. Um, Now to football season. So the Niners, there's a lot of drama going on with the Niners as well. I know Brandon Ayuk is talking about requesting a trade. I believe he's doing the same thing that Debo Sanders did a couple of years ago. So the rumors I'm hearing right now is that I know he's going to want 30 plus million because he's earned it. Last year he did earn it. Um, Catched over 1,300 yards and 7 touchdowns. So I believe he's definitely worth the money. So hopefully we'll resign Brian Ayuk. If not, I heard there may be a trade for Adams from the Raiders to us. So we'll see with that. So I've been a season ticket holder for the Niners going on 3 years. I've been a lifelong 49er fan. So when I got the ability just to, I went out on a limb 3 years ago and said, I'm gonna see if I can get season tickets for the 49ers. So I applied for them and literally got it. I'm in a good section there. I'm in the champion section on the 49er side of the field. Um, Section 141, row 19. So I'm literally between the 15 and 20-yard line on the 49er side of the field in the nice cushion seats. Every time I go to the game, the concession stands in the United Club is free. So hot dogs, nachos, fountain drinks, popcorn, candy, um, pizza, pretzels, chips, you name it. Only thing you have to pay for in the United Club is if you want wine or liquor, but all the other food and concession fountain drinks are free. So it's a great package. It wasn't as expensive as I thought it was going to be for season tickets. Um, so that made my day there. Then I started going to road games 3 years ago as well. So I've been to all but maybe, I believe I have maybe 10 stadiums left in NFL that I have not gone to. I will be able to knock off two more this year. So we do play the Dolphins in Miami this year. I've been to Miami before on several occasions, but we played them just before my birthday. So I'll more than likely spend my birthday in Miami, and then whatever trip I plan to do afterwards, I'll probably fly from Miami to that island to wherever I decide to go, and then the Niners don't play on Christmas this year or New Year's Eve, so I don't have to rush back to California this year for a game. So usually, what I do when it come down to vacations, most properties overseas, they'll charge a crazy price for staying on Christmas or staying on New Year's. So oftentimes, what I'll do is, if it's a birthday trip, I'll fly in on the 19th and I'll stay at that property until like the 23rd and then fly back. Or if I go after Christmas, I'll fly on the 26th and I'll stay at that property from the 26th to the 30th and then fly back to the States. That way, that'll be the cheat code. So if you're planning to go to a nice island for certain parts of the year, definitely be mindful of the time of the year that you're going, because you will have to pay extra if you go there doing certain events. So usually, like I said, if I go to an island, for instance, Bora Bora, Maldives, and Brazil, if I had gone, if I was there during Christmas or there during New Year's, I probably would end up paying an extra $600 or $700 for that, for staying at those properties. But because I chose dates before Christmas and after Christmas, I paid half the cost there. And if you're someone who I had a whole bunch of hotel points at that time because I was in staffing for 8 years. So being in hotels nearly 250 nights a year gave me the ability to have double and triple points during those promotions. I believe I had up to over 2 million Hilton points at one point. But I'm back down to like 15 or 20,000. So I got to build my points back up. But that was a whirlwind of a live today. I know I've gone on a tangent. I talked about my military career. I talked about my deployments that I were on before. I talked about giving back to the community. I talked about how important mental health is to anyone who serves in the military or anyone who haven't served but experienced PTSD. So I discussed mental health. I discussed places that I've gone on vacation. Thank you so much for joining my live, Kiki. You have a blessed day. I'll see you on the next live. I talked about the vacations that I've gone on so far, the national parks that I've visited, as well as the national parks that I wish to hit next. As far as vacation destinations, usually I will compile a list in the middle of the year of places that I'm going to go for my birthday or for after Christmas. Being that the Niners are playing the Dolphins around my birthday, I'm going to spend my birthday this year in Miami, and then I will take my destination trip after Christmas. But stay tuned for that. I don't know when to tell people where I'm going at. I'll just post the pictures after I'm back. It wouldn't be a vacation if I let you know where I'm at. So I don't tell people where I'm going at. I may have a laundry list of places I want to go in my mind and on paper, and then I go during that time of the year. I just don't want people keeping tabs on me. But what I do when I go on vacations, I may let my mom know where I'm at, or a certain friend or a family member. That way, if something happens, they know how to reach out to me. I can go on all forms of communication and talk to family members while unemployed on my phone or via chat. So it's not bad at all. So last but not least, again, everyone, thank you so much for joining my live. I know I talked about a lot of topics today, but if you don't take anything else from this live, please take mental health very, very seriously. Mental health is something that you need to take seriously. Um, don't be like me, someone who had friends that I served with that may have been dealing with something, and I had a lot of communication with a lot of my friends that I served with, but didn't even know that they had things that they was going through and was fighting demons, and unfortunately, some lost their lives. Don't let your don't let your family or friend um, end their lives over not having a good coping mechanism or having a good support system. Be the friend or family member that that person needs to stay alive and to be safe, sound, and healthy. So I am planning on possibly going hiking this week at Rocky Mountain National Park. Probably one of the best parks that I enjoy visiting, especially being local here in Colorado. I can get to a lot of state parks and national parks. So stay tuned for that. I will more than likely end up going to the East Inlet to do Adams Falls and Cascade Falls. I'm also anxious to now go back to finish my hike at Chasm since the snowfields have melted. So I am going to go back to Chasm and avenge that trail. And then I also want to go back to Lake Isabel because when I went to Lake Isabel a few weeks ago, the trails were pretty bad. There's a lot of snow and a lot of mud there. So I'm looking to also avenge that trail as well. So everyone, it's Hump Day. Thank you for joining my live, and anyone who watches this on my channel, thank you for watching it later. Peace and blessings. Godspeed.